I feel like I need like a signature opening or like a thing I say at the beginning because every time I click hit live, I'm always thinking like, all right, what kind of stupid thing am I gonna say to open it with? I'm gonna have to come up with some greeting or something with this and my other shows. Anyway, that was my greeting for this one. But
That's the thing.
right. What's up, everyone? This is Run the Julz podcast production. Another episode of Hoop and Harm, your favorite NBA pod that's not produced by Bill Simmons or Zach Lowe. And I'm here as
Take
always.
that.
I'm here as always with my very good friend Andrew Berry, coming to us live from beautiful San Francisco. And we're here to talk, as usual, about hoops, the NBA. Ooh, we're going to mix in. I want to get a quick take from you about last night. Maybe we should start with that, actually, with the Wisconsin-Duke game,
Yeah.
because it was a great one. It was a pretty great tournament overall. And we'll mix in, the final few games leading into the NBA playoffs, which starts the 18th.
Yep.
18th, yep. And we'll give you kind of an idea of where everybody's at because the standings are changing right now, and they're all very much in flux, which is it's a good time to be a basketball fan.
By the
Um,
time I say 10 dumb things tonight, the standings will have changed probably 3 times. So just give reference to that one.
Yeah, that's very true. So actually, that kind of affords us the ability to be dumb because anything we say, good or bad, is going to change in like 5 seconds. So it's kind of like a built-in, idiot-proof method. But anyway, so all right, let's talk about last night because it's kind of fresh in our minds with the NCAA championship. Good old Naptown there in Indianapolis. Duke comes out with a great effort to beat, I thought, a better Wisconsin team. I think I saw you were dressed up in some Wisconsin garb with a lady friend there, so I'm guessing that you were pulling for the Badgers. So what do you got in this game?
So let's see. Where do we start? Yep. Watched it. Watched it with the lady who is a proud alum of said Badgers. So watched it at a probably one of the crazier bars I've been to. A Badger bar it is. So they just packed that place in. Oh man, yeah, that was a rough one for the people at the bar. For me, who's trying to not be the asshole that's cheering for Duke and just cheering for a great basketball game in front of a bunch of people that are obviously pulling one way for it. My God, that was a great game. I think that, first of all, I think that Wisconsin played the 2 best teams in the tournament the 2 prior games. I think Arizona was tremendous this year. I thought they were one of the better teams. I don't know how they got a 2 seed over Villanova got a 1 seed over them. I thought that Arizona was much more deserving of that
I
seed.
agree.
So I think they played. That was an evenly matched game. I wouldn't say that Wisconsin or Arizona was markedly better than the other, but pretty evenly matched game. But then you look at the Kentucky game. My God, played out of their gorge that game, and I mean, great win. That was a great basketball game too. So I think that there was a lot of emotional energy that Wisconsin had to expend to get to that finals game, and then to put up, I don't know, what would you say, 35 minutes of pretty fantastic effort and just pretty dominant basketball, to be honest. I mean, they got Okafor, they got Winslow on the bench pretty early, and didn't really take advantage of it, but didn't really seem to affect anyone in any way. So, it just seemed like it was a weird game for Duke, and it seemed like they weren't going to actually do anything about it. It seemed like Okafor, honestly, every time he was on the court, didn't seem like he gave a shit. I don't know if you got that vibe, but I got the vibe a couple times. 1 or 2 of his early fouls, I just got the vibe that he just didn't give a shit. He didn't really want to be there. He was kind of over it.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I don't know. I think they just ran out of gas, plain and simple. I think Wisconsin started taking some dumb shots, and I think Duke had a couple guys that just all of a sudden took over the game, and the combination of those 2 things, I think, was just enough to kind of narrow that. I think it was 8 points. I think most I think it was 8 or 9 points. So, I think that just the combination of Wisconsin starting to force things, shooting the ball really early in the clock, and making some real bad misses, and then Tyus was his last name, Jones. I don't even know. I don't watch a lot of Duke basketball. Yeah, Tyus Jones. My God, that shot that he hit, getting bumped, falling to the baseline, made that, hit that three in Nigel Hayes' face.
That's NBA shit right there. That's
Yeah,
NBA player shit.
that was shit. So, yeah, as an unbiased basketball fan, holy moly, that was one of the better games. It deserved the rating it got. That was one of the better games, better basketball games I've seen in a long time. Not even NCAA. But as a happy wife, happy life type of situation, Leah, sorry that they lost. I promise you.
True. It's the safe bet, the good move. Better move right there.
Folks, how you hedge bets, everyone. That's how you hedge a bet right there.
Yeah, that's savvy, better move right there. So, yeah, a few things. I would agree. Like the Okafor thing, I like watching Okafor. Let me lay my cards on the table right now. I dislike Duke. I'm a North Carolina guy. North Carolina's my team. The fact that Tar Heels haven't been as competitive as of the last few years makes zero sense to me. I don't know what's going on with the recruiting classes and whatnot. They were celebrating some of those wins like they were, I don't know, Davidson or Florida. What was that? What was that dunk city
Florida
team?
Florida International.
Florida International. Yeah. Like they were just happy to be there type of stuff. And UNC is my team. I'm on record on saying that. Duke is not my favorite because of it. But I'll say this was a fun Duke team this year. Not a very hateable one until some dude named Grayson Allen decided to be a thing because I watched that white boy thinking like that's the typical Duke I hate you player that they have on this team. Like, because there's a lot. Yeah, that's your Christian Laettner of this year because Okafor for the most part he's fun to watch. Don't get any bad vibes off of him. Justice Winslow, good player, fun to watch. Tyus Jones, Quinn Cook, all those guys are solid. Nothing really hateable about them, which is bad for me because I want to hate. I want to talk about a couple things that you mentioned. Okafor's body language. I'm with you. I thought he was just kind of like, not as if like he thought like, yeah, we're just gonna win this game no matter what the score is, and I'm gonna move on. But it was almost like he could see the end of the road. Like it was as if he plays this game and then he just starts to get ready for the draft, and he was just much more into that, just getting beyond this game than winning this game. I don't know how much of a fair assessment it is because I don't know the kid personally. I don't scout Duke's team very often. That just might be how his demeanor is, regularly on the court. But it did kind of feel to me like, oh, that kid is just, trying to get through this and then move on to the workouts and get to Chicago for, workouts and combines and whatnot for the big day. Because I never really know the deal with like football or basketball when these guys finish out their tournament or national championship game. Do they go to class? Do they even do that shit anymore? Or they're just like finally running around with their agent, starting to book deals, starting to work out, starting to get looks at teams. I don't really know the deal.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, basketball, when you think about it, it's pretty much the end of their academic year anyways, so it's almost May. So maybe they just take out the next month. Football though, why would you? What's the point? You're done. You have nothing left to play for.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel as if like it's kind of like they don't go to class anymore. They don't do anything. So maybe knowing that's the deal, the kid is just like, I'm about to go on vacation. Like when you're like mailing it in at work for the last like couple days before you're about to be let loose to go to like a cruise to the Bahamas or something, and you're at your desk like, maybe I'll get this report done, maybe I won't, maybe I'll, things like that. I kind of felt like that was Jahlil Okafor. Fantastic to watch. His post moves, filth. It's pretty terrific to see him work his magic down there. He's got great offensive skills. But also, when you mentioned about bad shots by Wisconsin, I think you should be more specific and say Sam Decker, because
True story.
Sam Decker, who had brass ones throughout the tournament, like big brass ones. I heard something, and I think he should have been doing the Sam Cassell dance up and down the court throughout the tournament. It was like he, for whatever reason, took the ball from Space Jam and got all that power sucked out of it, and Tyus Jones picked it up and said, like, it's going to be me now for this game. Because Tyus Jones, big shot after big shot after big shot, that three you mentioned falling away, masterfully selling it like he was, a veteran of the WWE. He was making a ton of crazy shots. Decker had a bad game. He still, I think, finished with like 12, but I think he was like 0 for 6 behind the arc, which isn't good for him, isn't good for the Badgers. One thing that was great was Frank the Tank. Kaminsky's legit. He's, I think, a really exactly what the NBA looks for right now in 7-footers. These guys who can pick and pop and shoot and be stretch fives and have a lot of finesse games. So I think he'll go in the first. He'll get a strong look by teams in the high lottery and whatnot. Maybe our team will look. Who knows? But it was a great game. Great game. They had that game too. They like 35 minutes of great basketball. They were up 9, I think, by the end of it. And then Duke just said, like, "Oh, is it time to play?" And we'll pull it out. And they ended up doing it. Did you see Grayson Allen? That white boy out of nowhere was all over the internet. He was being called Joffrey Jordan because they decided he looked like.
That's funny though.
They decided he looked like Joffrey Baratheon from Game of Thrones, who is a universal prick, and because he's Duke, the internet's going to make him a villain of some sorts. But yeah, that was pretty funny. Pretty kick-ass game. I love March Madness and title game because it gets everybody feeling good about basketball going into our playoff season. Which is something we need because our league gets a lot of shit.
Thoughts before we move on. One, I think that those brass balls you talked about played Sam Decker into a lottery pick. I think he comes out. I think he's in that 10 to 12, maybe as high as 8 range. Frank is someone I think the Celtics are going to look at only because that's going to be the value at the time. He's probably, you see the Celtics around 17, 18. I don't know what they'll end up being, 8 and 8, 16, yeah, whatever it ends up being. That'll be someone that I think that'll be value-wise to look at. I don't think it's a good fit for the team because we have someone named Kelly Olynyk who has the same idea, I guess, as Frank Kaminsky. But, it's someone that you're looking at in that general value area. I think he's someone that's going to be a good second guy off the bench for a good team. I think that's kind of Frank Kaminsky's ceiling in the NBA as of now. I don't see him as a starter or like a regular 10-10, 20-10 guy. I don't see him as some sort of superstar revelation in the league. I think there's a bunch of them. Decker is a guy I see that can probably start in a good team, maybe be a 6-man on a great team. Someone that's just going to hit shots, like you said, with those, got great confidence, hit the shots. He defends a little bit. He's got the size to be a good defender, I guess I should say. He played. I don't know how Wisconsin hasn't produced more NBA players, to be honest, because that system is pretty unselfish and it's pretty built. It's kind of. I feel like it's a pro-style system in the way that they're selfish or selfless rather, in the way they play defense, in the way they have that emphasis on slowing the game down and taking smart shots and not making mistakes. I just feel like that they should turn out more NBA players than they do. Even if they have. If you look back at famous Wisconsin alum, I think Devin Harris is pretty much your all-star on that team, yeah. So that's my final thought. I think Decker is going to be one of the higher picks I've ever had, and I think he's going to be a pretty successful NBA guy. Frank, I think, is going to learn his role, and he's going to be a good role player for a good team. So, that's a good pickup for. Can you imagine if the Spurs pick up someone like Frank Kaminsky? I think that's like another dimension for them. that's all I can think of is like Kaminsky is just such a Spur.
Yeah.
He's a Spur, or he's a he's a Bull maybe. He's someone that needs like a little bit something else to him. Just like one of those random teams that would just do well, because right away he's gonna play decent minutes, but he's not gonna be needed to play a lot. So he's gonna learn on the fly. He's gonna have great mentorship. Just one of those kids that would would thrive in like a San Antonio or a Chicago, Portland maybe, something like that.
I like what you said about the Bulls because for some reason Pau Gasol has been like in my head when I think about Kaminsky. So imagine him like learning and being Pau's understudy. I could see that. I could see the rich getting richer in San Antonio. Definitely, they could find the way to do that. Yeah, I think
Spoiler
of
alert.
Kaminsky too as a 6, 7, 8th guy. Decker might have a higher ceiling because perimeter wing knockdown shooters are now such a coveted item in our
He's a
league.
big guy too. He's like 6'7", I think.
Oh, I lost your audio for a second.
Oh, can we now? We're back now. I'm out.
Hold on. We might have to get your audio back. I'm not sure what happened here.
Oh, boy. How's it looking now? No, still nothing.
This is. Let's see if we can fix this real fast.
Let's do this. Unmute. Any better?
You know what to do? Maybe can you jump out and I'll just invite you back and that might work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, folks. For all 3 of you that are watching, I'm going to try to see if we can reboot Barry right now. I'm not sure what was going on with his audio. We'll move on to the NBA, but that was a pretty sick-ass game last night, so we definitely wanted to touch on that. Let's see here while we restore Andrew. Here we go. How about now?
Back? What do you think?
Damn! It's not working still.
Really? What the fuck?
Good Lord.
Any better now?
Mm-mm. Fuck, man. I don't know what happened. What if you unplug the mic and the headphones totally? Like, just speak to the computer? Fuck. And now it's not working, so... I don't know what happened.
I don't even... Do I have internet? Yeah, I got internet.
I just tried to mute you and unmute you to see if it was something on my end, but it doesn't look like it is on my end.
What's it saying? Or is it just not?
Nah, fuck. We were cooking with gas, too.
Damn.
Alright, you know what? This is what we might do. This was part 1 of tonight's Hoop and Harm, where we talked all about the Natty game. I'll adjust the title and all that sort of good shit, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes or less to talk about the NBA. So, stay tuned. I know you're not watching live, folks, but stay tuned.